It occurred to me today that Louis Eriksson and Magnus Arvidsson are the same experiment and that we've done this before.
One of them cost a lot more money.
Yeah, that's true, but inflation, right? Like Arvidsson's $2 million contract 4 years ago was like $6 million now. So it's all the same. It's all apples to apples.
Oh, we get a lot of shots. Everybody come to their net. We just have to get more and more pucks to their net.
What were you saying about putting pucks on net?
Continue to put pucks on net.
Well, that's the key. We got to get the puck on net.
Pucks on net.
He's got that nick for the net too. He just throws puck on net.
It was nice to get pucks on net.
Pucks on net and driving it, making it a hard night on him.
Live on tape from Geeta's apartment, her palatial estate on the 23rd floor. This is Pucks on Net, a Vancouver hockey podcast. It doesn't talk about fantasy or fancy stats. We are mildly asleep, awake. We're not.
It's Sunday night. There's football on.
Did you see that Canucks game?
I saw some of it. I still think that Willie made that challenge without really knowing what had happened.
Well, if you looked when they
offside,
just something.
Did he throw a flag onto the ice? Like it just seemed like it was like on a whim.
I think they want to throw a flag on the ice because most hockey coaches and players are big football fans,
right?
And they'd love the idea of the weighted down, in the toss.
Because even I caught that. And I was just like, what is this? I'm like, how do you do that? And again, it was like he was hoping.
But then Taylor Hall skates over the flag and busts his head open again. He just got relatively decent looking again. We can't go through that.
Whatever. You give the Canucks a 15-yard penalty. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Intentional encroachment, 5-yard penalty. Thanks for joining us wherever you got us from. Wherever you download your pod. Jeez. Thanks for getting us.
You haven't done a plug in a while, huh?
I know.
Thanks for joining us wherever you got us from. iTunes, Stitcher.
Tune in, pucksnet.ca. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at pucksnet.ca or pucksnet.ca. And, I'm Ryan. I'm gambling a lot now.
I'm Dave, and I know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and I know that you shouldn't count your money when you're sitting at the table because there'll be plenty of time for counting when the dealing's done.
I'm Geeta, and I just called my wine my wife.
And how do you feel being in a lesbian relationship with a wine that does, that identifies apparently?
It's like interspecies.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's 2016 and no one's going to judge.
It's 2015. I have no idea.
It's 2017.
Yeah, you can tell how deeply in love I am with my wine.
We're 5 days out from Inauguration Day.
Hey, who's performing there?
I think
Did they get Creed?
I think they got Creed. So Donald Trump's going to be welcomed into the Oval Office with arms wide open.
3 Doors Down, the big band.
The poor man's Creed.
Yeah, if you remember 3 Doors Down, their big hit was
Kryptonite.
Yeah, Kryptonite. And then they had the big drummer trade with Nickelback. They traded drummers.
Wait, why didn't they just go for some Canadian? Like, why didn't they go Nickelback or Justin Bieber?
Yeah,
I think there's. Wait, you mean
Trump?
Trump.
Los Lobos.
Yeah, like some like. Did you need a good American band? Why did you just go off the map?
Get the Gypsy Kings.
Or like the Pussy Riot.
Yeah. I think he knows a guy who can get in touch with them.
They're going to get a Selena hologram. That's the last thing I heard. Selena hologram.
The Tupac hologram and the Selena hologram.
P-Mac's going to join us off the street. He's going to get something to eat after the Canucks snooze fest against the Devils that just happened.
Yeah, lazy Sunday 4 o'clock game.
I could not...
Seems pretty swampy.
I don't know why... Is there something instilled in the New Jersey Devils mission, like is there a mission statement or something that says they have to be the most boring team in NHL history?
It's Lamoriello's legacy.
He's like, I'm leaving for Toronto now.
He left the lights on and the keys in the ignition for Ray Shiro, and he's just driving the same car. I think Ken Danico was playing on the blue line tonight.
Scott Stevens has some sort of a coach job, I think, on the bench.
Something. He wears glasses now, and he seems smart.
And sweater vests?
He should. That seems like something Chris.
That was very Robbie Ftorek.
Yeah, he wore sweaters. That's true.
Right, yeah.
So Corey
Bill Cosby sweaters.
Corey Schneider's numbers this year are poopy. They're not what they've been.
Do you know what they are?
He's 29th in the league in save percentage.
How?
He's 28th. These are non-fancy stats.
Well, I mean, he's coming from Vancouver. That's what he was doing here.
He's 28th in goals against average.
Yeah.
And they're under 500. Bo Horvat's going to the All-Star game. Do we finally ask the question with a decent 4-year sample size? Did the Canucks win that trade?
I wouldn't say win, but I'm like, yeah, the Canucks came out on top.
Was Mike Gillis some kind of secret genius?
I don't think. I mean, look at the Canucks goaltending since we traded away Corey Schneider. Would Corey Schneider have done any differently in Vancouver than Ryan Miller has done thus far?
I don't feel like he would have.
Yeah.
It's a much different team than what we had, making sure that nobody scored on Corey Schneider.
Ryan Miller on the 2012 Canucks, at his current age and ability, doesn't give you much less than what they had.
Yeah.
I think we've learned that. I think that we've learned that we all thought that Ryan Miller didn't have it anymore. It turned out he's still a pretty good goaltender.
He's got it just with enough.
Well, he's vying for a job, right?
I think he's got a job. I think Ryan Miller's got another 2-year contract.
Well, he's vying
after
for that backup job in Dallas, the backup quarterback job.
Yeah, because Tony Romo saw his last snap.
He's going to some sort of Vegas team or something.
Yeah, the Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
There was a question actually on the old Twitter. This came from Stephen Quinn. Magna and Miller for Jason Spezza.
No one's going to do that. Why would the Dallas Stars trade for Jason Magna? And I like Jason Magna, and I defend Jason Magna on social media because I don't think he's as bad as everybody
I think the question is, why would the Dallas Stars trade away Jason Spezza?
And why would the Canucks want Jason Spezza? Isn't that the kind of asset that they're trying to ship away and get rid of at this point?
Because the Canucks need leadership going into the playoffs?
He's a consistent goal scorer.
Playoffs? Are you kidding me? Playoffs?
I
think he would be serviceable on another team.
I think you'd just like to have him in town where you can see him.
No, I think
every night.
Just said, I think he'd be serviceable on another team, playoff headed, like Toronto.
Oh, Jason, so funny to bump into you here at Whole Foods. I didn't
Aren't
even know
they a team in need of a leader?
She bought him an iPhone just so she can use the Find My iPhone app.
Slip it in his back pocket.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know where this phone came from, but I'm going to use it.
If they traded for Ryan Miller, they'd have like $16 million in goalies.
Yeah. Well, I think somebody would have to come back, and that somebody would get exposed in the. I don't think Miller getting traded to Dallas is that far fetched, but I think if he does, the Canucks would have to take one of those guys.
The Stars
back.
are not that good this year.
They are a very crappy team.
Yeah.
And Dan Hamhuis is regularly healthy scratched.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
Good thing they held on to him as he loved Vancouver so much.
Yeah, whatever. Tribute video bullshit. Martin St. Louis, speaking of tribute videos.
Yeah, but things coming out of Prince George really suck.
Except for Zdeno Chara.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's from one of the Akias.
Yeah, Slovakia.
Or a republic. I don't know.
By way of Prince George. Martin St. Louis' number was retired in Tampa Bay this weekend, and John Tortorella sassed him.
I have that clip right now.
I think we should play the clip.
I need to make something perfectly clear. Perfectly clear. And I want his kids to know this too. Marty was a pain in the ass to coach. He was stubborn. He was convicted. He had questions upon questions. Mo, you were his roommate. Hey, question upon question about trying to find a better way to do it. Find a better way to beat that team, to beat that opponent, that player. He's a man that has been told no so many times early in his career. No, you're not good enough. No, you're too small. Fourth line player, back to the minors, waved out. All the things that went on with him.
One of my favorite things about Marty St. Louis is that he was cut from the Calgary Flames because he was too much of a pipsqueak, and then 4 years later he gets a chance to beat said team in the Stanley Cup Finals.
They let a lot of guys go. You know who was on that fourth line with them, don't you? It was Mark Savard. Also couldn't play on the Calgary Flames. Calgary had a few guys in the 90s that if they had hung on to, they would have not gone through the things that they went through. But, like the dark ages where they missed the playoffs, and some guy named Todd Simpson was their captain for a while.
Oh, that was a good time to be alive.
That's where you were in Calgary watching 0-0 ties.
I'm really glad that Steve Yzerman did not invite Martin St. Louis to this ceremony.
We're retiring your number, Marty, but you can't come. It's nothing personal.
We had to find a way to get another player on the roster. So if someone gets hurt, we'll call you.
Like, what do you think that it was like when Stamkos had his leg broken? He's like, well, I'm not going to the Olympics. Please, for the love of God, Steve, take Marty. like he was leading during the 2014 leading up to the 2014 Sochi Olympics. Like Stamkos broke his leg. They needed to replace him with somebody.
Right.
Yzerman is building the team. Yzerman is the GM of the Lightning. And St. Louis is leading the league in goals. And it's like, geez, is that the guy I want on my team?
It might have been a chemistry issue or something, like where maybe because it sounds like Marty is a bit of an abrasive guy, whether it's through any fault of his or someone else's. Like I think
it could be perception.
I think he might be, from what I've seen, I don't think he's the best teammate. I think that if you're not up to his standard, he's gonna tell you about it.
You're not. He's the type of guy to tell you how you screwed something up.
Yeah, on the bench. Like you get back to the bench, he'll go, "What the was that?
What were you doing out there? Jesus Christ!"
Yeah, I think that's Marty. But great career.
If the criticism is constructive, shut up and take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you gotta.
But I mean, we don't know Martin Hansen.
You gotta pick
personally. I don't know what's going on the bench.
You gotta pick your spots.
Yeah.
Like, you don't. After the game is a good time
for sure.
Well, this is a guy who's always in that constant pissed off. Nobody can tell me what's right or what's wrong, and just like he's got the Napoleon complex because he's a smaller guy.
Hey, you know what? I can relate to being a little bit of a smaller guy
because you're like 5'2".
Yeah.
Listen, you're plenty. You could play lady hockey just fine. You'll be the.
Is that our transition into women's hockey?
It's
a very smooth transition into the female Wayne Gretzky retiring this week. Only she's a lot more likable, as we discussed last week.
Yes.
Hayley Wickenheiser, I think, just on behalf of Pucks on Net, congratulations.
She
a wonderful career.
Yeah, people forget
there was a jersey retirement ceremony we all want to be at.
She was so good.
Yeah,
she got her jersey retired by 2 teams she didn't even play for.
Well, she did play for the Calgary Canadian Women's Hockey League team.
Yeah, and she did.
Yeah,
because I know she was playing for University of Calgary hockey.
Then she moved over to play in the Calgary team in the Pro League, and they won the championship last year.
But
the Flames?
They called the Inferno.
Yeah, the Calgary Inferno.
Same jersey, same fire, same pro fire, motif. But I always really liked Hayley Wickenheiser, and I can remember after the Nagano Olympics where they got silver, which I believe was the first year that women's hockey was allowed in the Olympics.
Yeah, Manon Rhéaume was still playing that for them.
Yeah, and there was a it was a big deal, like this women's team, because they played the Americans. They had a very good tournament. They lost. I think they got silver, but they did some sort of thing in Calgary where I think it was regional teams, like Team Ontario played somebody, and it was at the Max Bell Arena where Junior A plays, and they put all the school kids in there, and they said, oh, Hayley Wickenheiser from the Olympics is going to be there, and we were all just like, holy shit, Hayley Wickenheiser is going to be here. So she had a pretty big
feel
impact.
that way today.
Yeah, then they won it in 2002, which she has that clip where Don Cherry's interviewing her, which gives me goosebumps, where she's all fired up. They just won the gold medal, and then she they
had the dressing room. They had the flag on the floor of the dressing room. The Americans had the maple leaf on the floor.
Right.
And she hit him with, now that we've beaten them, why don't we bring it over to them so they can we can sign it for them and give it to them.
Yeah, I want to see if I can find that, because I was watching that. I saw that clip around Sochi, and I just got it gets you so fired up and it's so patriotic.
I remember that game in Salt Lake City in 2002 very well. I remember watching it, and the refereeing. If you've got a few minutes, watch the extended highlight pack of that game. It's some of the worst refereeing you've ever seen. The phantom calls.
Yeah.
It was inexcusable. There was no justifying what you were seeing. It was absolutely crooked. They were trying to get the Americans the gold medal, and Hayley Wickenheiser went top cheddar to win that game.
And this is the clip here. This is I'm Don Cherry always says, he knew, he could see how fired up and emotional she was, and he was grab her, interview her, because anything she says is just going to be amazing.
Right.
And I love, this is one of my favorite hockey clips ever. Crap.
Hayley, have you ever seen any penalties? In my life, I've never seen anything like it.
It was absolutely atrocious, but you know what? The Americans had our flag on their floor in the dressing room, and now I want to know if they want us to sign it.
I love that.
That's amazing.
She's very cool, and in fact, in Sochi, the last Olympics, I would argue the women's gold medal game was way more exciting than the men's.
Yep.
And I can remember watching that at work with in the green room with one of the kids in the hall was on the show that day, and it was the most Canadian thing I've ever had, ever experienced.
It was great. That was an amazing game with Poulin getting those 2 goals.
Yep.
Now, that was wonderful, and I hope she stays in the game. That's one thing I hope. I hope that she doesn't disappear on us. I hope that I could see her coaching or...
Public speaking.
Could she move into a Cassie Campbell-Pascal-like role?
I don't see her doing that. She's a little bit too fiery. I don't think she's at TV. I'd like to see her maybe transition into an NHL role. I could see her being an assistant coach in the National Hockey League. That I could actually see.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
It would not surprise me in the least if she took a couple of years off from the game and we see her surface in Calgary and Edmonton as an assistant coach.
Well, that or lead the women's national team.
That too. But she's a very skilled player, I think, as a skills coach.
Because
certainly.
women's hockey is now incredibly competitive compared to what it was in 1998 when it was just the Americans and the Canadians. Now the European teams are on par.
Sweden's getting there. The Russians are working on it.
Yeah.
And the quality of play has improved amazingly.
Exactly.
There's another clip I want to play. We're a clip-heavy start to the show, but they did a hometown hockey on Sunday. Right now is in Vancouver, and they did a...
Why?
Because
we're not Kraft Hockeyville.
No, that's some sort of island town.
I don't think you can have Kraft Hockeyville anywhere where Drake would play 2 shows.
But that's the thing. Like are big cities typically hometown hockey?
It's like putting a CFL team in Toronto and Vancouver. It doesn't work.
It's not gonna work.
Not gonna work.
No, they. I had no idea it was here. I actually thought it would be in New Westminster or something.
The thing. I didn't know either until Friday. I was driving to work, and one of the morning shows on the radio was talking about it.
Yeah.
And they hyped it up to sound like the Olympics are in town, and there's going to be huge crowds downtown Vancouver.
Look out. We are blocking off streets. It is going to be a madhouse. Eric Goodbranson is going to be interviewed in regular attire.
And until you arrived here tonight, Dave and I were like, we don't know. Where's this going to be hosted?
It's outside. There's just a pandemonium.
They broke the windows of the Bay store. So they're in the display.
They got all the jeans. I didn't hear anything about this until maybe 3 days before.
Exactly.
all of a sudden, Bo Horvat's doing stuff about hometown hockey, and it was sprung on us. I didn't have time to get our Pucks on Net booth, or we would have had that. We would have.
Yeah, were
leaflets.
there like tents set up and shit?
Yeah, the team the Vancouver Giants of Langley were out there, and all the minor hockey stuff.
The mighty Giants of Langley.
They're dead to us. That's just
Did Tyler Benson, was he doing his robot voice? My back feels good. My skates feel good. I'm really excited about playing in Bakersfield.
Was there a road hockey tourney going on?
Of course, it's all the same standard BS.
The guys from Letterkenny were in town.
Was Tyrone name dropping his dad?
Cliff, my dad, Cliff.
My
favorite player, my dad, Cliff. No, he's not.
Nah, he might be. They have a very interesting dynamic, those two.
They're Marty St. Louis and the shit out of each other. I'm better than you. No, I'm better than you.
But they're hanging out. They're like frenemies.
Yes.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Somebody asked me, what's the practice? I say, it's very easy. Put your fingers in a table, grab hammer, and hit your fingers. Oh, it's painful. No, it's not practice yet. You have to put same fingers in the table again, grab the hammer, and hit these fingers again. Because it's hard, it's tough.
Bure's tough love and grueling work.
So if you didn't hear that, Pavel Bure's dad would, in forms of training, would take his kid's hand on the table.
I think that was a metaphor.
I don't know.
And not for what was going on in the Soviet Union and how you raise your children?
I think what he meant was like, we gotta like train hard and then train even harder harder every day. I don't think they were like doing what Robert De Niro did in the movie Casino.
Well, I'm not saying smashing to the point of, bits, but now if he was, now we know why Pavel Bure was so good, because he had robot hands because his father smashed his regular hands to bit with a hammer.
I was actually going to argue something that was said earlier on, but I feel like Candace Cameron Bure has done a lot more for that name than Pavel or Valerie.
She's put a much fuller house.
Yeah.
On the face of the Bure family.
That's pretty funny. Hey, P-Max just walked in. How you doing?
Oh, I felt like I walked into the most boring episode of Pucks on Net ever. It's just like, shh, Paul, you need to be quiet.
Yeah, Ryan's just made us sit through a 20-minute segment.
We had a little nap. We had a little napsy break.
And I'm really happy that Dave's here, but at the same time, why was I running here after work if you had 3 people?
Because I didn't want.
Got a full bench, bud.
Didn't want to make you feel like you weren't wanted.
There's not enough room.
No, feel free to tell me I'm not wanted anytime you want.
Well, I got good news. Now that you're here, we're gonna start talking about football, the AFC playoffs.
Have your dinner.
Have your dinner. We're going to talk about how Jeff Carter all of a sudden woke up and decided to be Jeff Carter again.
Was he? I don't understand how this happened.
He's gone Philadelphia, Jeff Carter.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's partying just as hard as he was before.
Might be back on the Lemonheads.
They were the best things ever. Were photos of him and Mikey Richards going to frat houses in Philly and partying.
Yeah,
and they were scoring goals.
It's sunny again.
And there's nobody on that team, on that LA Kings team, that's actually scoring goals. So is he just picking up the slack? Like, what the hell's going on?
He's reinvigorated.
He's feeling it. No, you know what it is? It's that somebody's got to score goals.
Yeah.
Climate change.
Yeah, probably climate change.
Yeah.
But no, the LA Kings are certainly kind of like reshaping the Canucks push for the playoffs story because LA is starting to pull away from the pack, but they're still in that last wild card spot.
Yeah, see, I never know what's going on in LA. They could be the best team in the league. They could be the worst team in the league. They just seem to be there.
They changed their logo last week, and it's now...
Does it look like
It looks like the Dodgers logo, but there's a little hockey stick.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there's a bit of a lightning bolt.
No.
That's the Chargers.
You want to get sued? No, there's still, like where the lightning bolt is, there's a little hockey stick, and I think Jeff Carter just really likes playing for that logo.
That works. Hey, whatever's working.
Yeah.
They've also, the NHL, because like it's monkey see, what monkey do, and the NFL is like the most popular league in North America.
Right.
6 teams announced today that they're relocating to Los Angeles.
Really? Coyotes?
The Coyotes are moving to Los Angeles. The Anaheim Ducks are moving to Los Angeles. The San Jose Sharks are moving to Los Angeles.
Las Vegas is heading there.
Las Vegas is moving to Los Angeles.
No, it's just Vegas, guys.
The Florida Panthers are moving to Los Angeles. Yeah. Everyone's going to play at the Staples Center.
Yeah.
Jesus. And they
Clippers, Lakers, Kings, Ducks,
Coyotes, Panthers,
Sharks,
Golden Black Knights.
Everybody.
And that team we put in Tacoma.
Yeah, the monster trucks.
At the Tacoma Dome, but they still play in Tacoma on Sunday.
No, the Anaheim Ducks are now the Los Angeles Ducks of Anaheim
in Los Angeles.
And they play 41 outdoor games at Arrowhead Stadium a year.
Just want to add, as a shareholder with the Tacoma Monster Trucks, correction, they are not able to play at the Tacoma Dome on Sundays because that's when real monster trucks are there.
Oh no, they play like a stadium classic game on the brown muddy ice. They just freeze over the mud from the monster trucks and they smooth it out.
That has to be a Saturday because the monster trucks are back in on Sunday.
No, they go around the ice.
Whatever. The Seahawks aren't playing. Just put them in CenturyLink.
Yeah, the Sounders FC team is done for the year.
Now that the Seahawks are losing and seem to be over that glory,
we could go to an NFL game and not have to and still be able to pay our rent.
Well, the shine's gone, but that means they want something else that's going to make money. So in comes that Soto Mojo rink, and away we go.
The Seattle Supersonica.
The Sheen is coaching the District 5. Remember? So.
That's right. Emilio
Estevez Sheen.
You can't keep a Sheen down, but you can keep an Estevez down. That Bobby Kennedy movie didn't help him out very much at all, and now we find out that Bobby Kennedy's son is a bit of a crazy person.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's a vaccine denier, and he's going to politicize it.
Yeah,
which is great.
Well, I mean, if you're a part of the Trump administration, why not?
Ted Cruz's father was in on it with the Kennedys, man. Kennedys everywhere.
This is really scary, man. But anyway, you weren't in time for us to discuss Creed playing the inauguration.
It's Creed stepping in to play with Three Doors Down.
They should just bring them all back. Everclear should show up.
Everything is wonderful.
The lyric is,
3 days grace.
If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? But Donald Trump's already crazy, so what do we call him?
Kryptonite.
Okay, there you go.
Lex Luthor.
Hey, if he asked me personally to perform, I'd say yes.
No, you wouldn't.
Toby Keith is performing.
I'd be like, but guys, he just asked me to perform.
I'm going to perform the inauguration behind bulletproof glass because I'm going to get shot by Trump supporters because I'm visibly ethnic.
I wonder if Pootie's going to show up.
He'll be.
Think of the money he's just thrown at me.
Like $40?
Is Alex
You would do it. It's like what you're gambling with.
Is Alex Ovechkin going to show up?
New ambassador to the United States,
Alex Ovechkin.
That's a good job. He's getting close to, he's only got another 6 years on him or so.
Kovalchuk is doing.
He's got 1,000 points, and he can help Ben Carson solve the housing problem.
Hey, that's Steve Harvey's job.
Oh, man.
I have to apologize, Steve Harvey.
I want to talk.
Is he going to be bad for America? Survey says yes.
Well, the SNL reference to last night.
So funny. That was so good.
Why was
Steve
Harvey was on?
Well, I'd seen the picture of the Steve Harvey meeting with Trump outside Trump Towers. It was like Kanye meeting with Trump. I'm like, what's going on? Is this what he means by diversity?
He's trying to find anybody who'll be his black friend. He's like George in that episode where he tries to become friends with the exterminator.
That's what they called him in college. Linebacker.
Yeah.
Back to California-based sports. Smash Mouth, everybody, and dated bands from the late 90s and early 2000s.
Hey, now you're an all-star. Get your game on.
They sent out this tweet of hashtag All-Star San Jose Sharks of Pavelski, Burns, what's his name? Martin Jones.
Big Marty Jones from North Vancouver.
And their coach, whatever his name is.
Peter DeBoer.
Yeah. Hey, now you're an all-star. Congratulations, Pavs, Burnsy, Jonesy, and Pete from Smash Mouth.
So they must be big fans, and they must also be hanging out at the SAP Center, handing out demos for their new.
That's hilarious.
Well, they ended up.
I'd completely forgotten who Smash Mouth was, and I'm like, I don't get this, Ryan.
You should have forgotten who Smash Mouth is because they had their one big song.
It was from the Shrek soundtrack.
It was from a lot of.
They had Walking on the Sun.
That was a good little song.
And then they had All Star, and that was one of the first records I bought as a teenager, like their second record. It's not very good, but it had appeal to 14-year-old boys or whatever.
The lead singer looks like Guy Fieri.
It totally does. And as long as there's all-star games in professional sports, you will hear this song.
Oh, I have Walking on the Sun queued up.
Well, you could do that in the all-star games in Los Angeles. And
do you know what they played tonight, though, when they announced Bo Horvat being an all-star?
Hey, now you're an all-star?
Yes, that's what they played in the arena tonight.
I'm not going to
kind of disappointed.
I would have played You're the Best Around, the Karate Kid soundtrack.
Yeah, that.
You're the best around.
I think a lot about, usually when I'm on the treadmill, about how much I do not like the music played at Rogers Arena. And one day, one of you two will be up there and somebody will be in a panic, like, we need somebody to DJ. And then I come in with a big crate of records under my arm and like, let's do this.
That's not that far-fetched because I sit right next to that chair and I'd be like, I got a guy.
I know a guy. He's DJ'd the Giants at least 50 times.
He's gonna play Girls, Girls, Girls at 106 dB, which is an improvement over.
And he sits on the other side of that wall. It's PMAC on the street.
I'd rather hear Motley Crue than Fetty Wap 4 times, personally.
If I was called in an emergency basis to DJ, first order of business, oh, geez, the customized goal songs aren't playing on my MacBook Pro. Oh, no, Rock and Roll Part 2. Here we go.
You can't play Rock and Roll Part 2.
Then you can't play Michael Jackson. Boom, roasted.
Yeah, fair enough. You can't play Michael Jackson either.
Well, I want to play Michael Jackson.
You can't play Michael
That's racist.
You can't play Michael.
But anyway.
Is it?
It's kind of.
No.
Depending on what year it is.
Ask Macaulay Culkin if it's racist.
The other problem with, so Smash Mouth is they made headlines before because they're from the Bay Area somewhere, and they're cheering on their hometown.
And they
Sharks.
were on the lead singer was on the Surreal Life once.
Yeah,
right.
And
he fell pretty far, like Screech level.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's real. He's in jail right now.
No, Screech is out of jail now.
But he was in jail for trying to stab somebody in a bar in the middle of Wisconsin.
Yeah, people had a hard time transitioning out of Saved by the Bell.
Screech?
Bayside High, yeah.
I talked to Screech. He was in town a few years ago.
Yeah, but he's been in jail since then.
That was since then.
Did he hold the door open for you at the SkyTrain station? How much money did you give him?
Have I told you the Screech story? It's really short.
Tell it.
Tell your street.
He came and did an interview with Fiona Forbes at the studio.
Yeah.
I missed him there, but then I was doing a story at the convention he was signing autographs.
Wasn't it like the Fan Expo or something?
It was before Fan Expo. This was like mega.
It was
Comic-Con,
the Wedding Expo.
Yes, at the Wedding Expo, Screech was signing out. But anyway, I had a camera out and I was doing my little thing and I was trying to look for one of the celebrities to interview.
He couldn't find one.
He was the only one with no lineup for autographs.
Him and Lonely Virgil.
And I guess we had passed earlier, so I just kind of gave him a nod. Like, hey, how's it going? And he nodded back and then like sort of put his head down and nobody wanted his autograph.
Well, he's old and fat, and he's a weirdo.
That's what happens when I try to do it at the concourse at Rogers.
Why doesn't anybody want these signed 8x10s?
I would only take a photo with Screech as if I was in like Zach Morris cosplay.
Yeah, you have to have the big phone.
If I had the big phone and like a blonde wig and the high tops, like with my jeans tucked into them, I'd go for it.
Was Screech in the Zack Attack with them?
Yeah.
Did he play?
He's the keyboard player.
Okay, so
was he?
Oh yeah, because Slater was the drummer.
Of course, because he's got the guns for it.
Everybody but Lisa. Lisa wasn't in the band.
I think Screech played. She had her hip hop album coming out with Ja Rule that year. I think Screech played the keyboard guitar, No,
I think he just played the keyboard.
Yeah, because Nerds would play the keyboard because it's got a level of math to it. Yeah. The Jock would play the drums because he's so strong.
The Heartthrob's the lead guitarist.
Yeah, and then the girls just round out the
they were just
voice.
on this side of the band.
So if Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and Willie Nylander were to form a band, who would play which instrument?
They would all be they'd be frontman, and they'd have the headset microphone, and they would wear white wife beaters and white pants, and they would just sing at the front of the stage.
Austin is wearing a black V-neck.
Yeah.
On stage to show off those nice shoulders.
Willie Nylander's in the DJ booth spinning.
Yeah.
Man.
Austin center stage because he was picked number 1.
But
like Leaf Sync or something?
No.
The Leaf Street. They're the Bay Street Boys.
Foliage Boys.
Oh! I like it.
Foliage Boys.
Hey, we can workshop this after the podcast.
And their album, Time to Blow. Because Leaf Blower.
Like Leaf Blower, yeah.
This was
they
was
do
more
a great cover of Help Me Rhonda, except it's Rhonda.
Is that what their fans
Arizona.
are called? The Leaf Blowers? They're groupies?
They also could be the Babcocks.
Forget Puck Bunnies or Rink Rats. It's Leaf Blowers.
There is nobody more popular. It did not take long for Toronto sports fans to forget about In Order. The Blue Jays were the coolest thing in the history of the world. Then the Raptors had a couple of minutes where they were the coolest thing. And then when they were in the MLS Cup for like half a second, TFC was a thing.
It was an afternoon.
It's true. It's been at least 12 seconds since anyone's asked me where Batista's going.
Yeah, and the Leafs now are 6 games over 500, so forget all that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot to tell
Doesn't matter.
Okay, over Christmas, I got an Austin Matthews t-shirt.
Yeah.
I've only worn it a couple of times, but I wore it around the city, meaning my building, and all of a sudden, I'm being stopped by people, and people are like congratulating me on my team and telling me how great it is that I've stuck with them all this time and how proud I must be to be a Leafs fan.
Things have gotten so good for you.
Not to mention, I wore it to Christmas dinner where like my uncles are like, we understand that some things are going on with you, like, and it's okay if you want to talk about it. We're good with it.
They're having a Leaf intervention.
Yeah, they're like, the Leafs were your dad's favorite team when he was growing up, so it's okay. But like, if there are things you want to talk about, we're going to talk about them. And I'm like,
forget any deep-rooted emotional problems or anxieties you're having with life. They want to talk to you about your Leafs jersey.
Yeah. Didn't you wear that to distract so there weren't any like questions about personal life and relationships and stuff?
And that's where they went.
That's why I wear Leafs stuff.
They're like, you've got an issue clearly, and this is how you're expressing yourself.
I don't think it was the T-shirt. I think it was the "Make America Great Again" hat that you wore to dinner.
Now that was what I should have done and said I had
something you guys want to talk to me about?
Wall prices?
That would have been so great. Why didn't I think of that for Christmas dinner this year? That would have really f***ed my family up if I had shown up with that.
Oh, my dad! No wonder he got that. He got that Trump signed before Pence was signed on as president from a campaign office in Bellingham, and he got it as a joke. Like, well, this is gonna be pretty funny when he crashes and burns. It'll be a collector's item, and then like he put it in the backyard as like a joke, and then like because nobody could see it, and like July turned to August turned to September, and so on. I'm like, you really gotta put that in the garage. He's like, yeah, I'm really starting to think so.
You know when that sign will be really funny? When April rolls around and Mike Pence is our new president.
And the Pray Away the Gay camps are getting fully funded.
Yeah. They got good food.
It's Pride season.
No hot dogs, no dick shaped foods at the
Nothing
the gay
phallic.
Camp. Nothing phallic.
No popsicles, just fudgesicles. No fudgesicles
No
because that implies
gherkins.
No gherkins, no popsicles.
No foot-long hoagies.
Nothing. Lots of strawberries. You can eat all the strawberries you want.
No more bananas being imported.
You can eat all the kiwi fruit you want. It's all good. No spoons. You just got to get right in there.
No, you can't have a kiwi. That's a hairy fruit.
They won't even put that in. They won't put that in the fruit bowl in the Dallas Stars dressing room.
Everything's coming up apple pie.
Yeah.
But back.
Whoa,
whoa. Back to the Leafs. You brought up this is more of an editorial moment for me. I really like what the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing. They stripped it down at the studs. They kept 2 and 3 good veteran players.
They put competent people in charge.
I agree. I'm 100% on board with what the Leafs have done.
I like this Leafs team top to bottom. They are great. They're incredibly fast. That top line is terrifying, and it's so fast, and they're a threat. But
they've minimized Nazem Kadri's role.
Does it start and end though with Mike Babcock? If there was another coach at the helm of this thing, would they be developing the players the way that they are?
But I like the way Shanahan's running things. Again, I think it goes back to stripping everything, coming in and stripping everything because everything was bad there.
But also hiring the right people and delegating to them.
That's right. Yeah. Like you've got issues, you've got to deal with them. You don't just try to put Band-Aids on the problems.
You don't just show up at Christmas dinner with a Leaf jersey on, expect not people not to notice your problem.
Hey, I wear that shirt proudly because of what the Leafs have done at the end of 2014 or whatever.
So are you saying this is the greatest accomplishment when it comes to stripping things for Brendan Shanahan since he stripped Brendan Morrison of his front 6 teeth on the top?
One night in Detroit.
It was a home game.
Shanahan clearly knows how to strip.
But I was seeing an article. I saw an article on TSN, on the main page, is Austin Matthews the 2nd or 3rd best hockey player in the NHL today?
The third coming.
And I'm like, come on.
I saw that too, and I
no.
My eyes rolled so far.
I
they
thought
almost
he
fell out of
wasn't
my
even
head.
that good. He was just the best player picked last year.
Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin,
Alex Ovechkin.
Alex Ovechkin's having a pretty good year.
It wasn't a strong drafter. He was just the best player that year.
Carey Price.
No, he's Austin Matthews.
Alexander Radulov.
Yeah.
He's having a very good year this year, and he's.
And all the power, and he might win the Calder Trophy. All the power to him.
Sure.
But let's calm down a little bit.
It's one season.
I have my ears to other things. I have ears to podcasts back east, and it's not it's how many division titles they're gonna.
They're talking about them like they're the Kane and Taves Blackhawks.
It's okay, we got this. It's gonna be 4 Stanley Cups, and then the cap problem, and
they're
then 6
not winning. They're not winning a division for a long time unless Carey Price gets hurt again.
It's is it like Marner is Kane and Matthews is Taves? Is that how they're seeing it?
I think so. Yeah.
Is it a Crosby? I see it more of as a Chicago parallel than a Pittsburgh one.
Yeah, because Mitch Marner is a smaller kid,
and I'm not saying the Leafs haven't done everything right because I think that they have.
Yeah.
I think you just got to cool your
jets.
Yeah.
Appreciate the moment. It's like what I was saying when the Canucks won all those games and now they've lost all those games.
That feels like a long time ago.
But wasn't that nice? Aren't we glad that we had that? That was fun.
That was lovely.
This is a bit bigger than that. Toronto's waited a long time for it, so I think they should be excited.
They should be excited, but they should also be aware that things can really unravel for your franchise one night in Boston.
It's January.
We feel you, Toronto. We know.
We were there a couple times.
Yeah, we invented that.
It's January. No one's gotten into the playoffs yet.
But when the Leafs made the playoffs out of nowhere in that silly shortened season, everybody's like, "This is it. This is it." So let's just take a beat.
Well, I'm hearing stuff they could compete for the Stanley Cup in 2 years. They should go for it now. Know
what that tells you? That shortened season playoff run.
What was that?
The season was bullshit.
No, that they can do it in 4 months.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
They don't have the defense and they don't have the depth on their bottom 2 lines to compete for Stanley Cup, and it's going to take them, I think, 3 or 4 years to develop that.
And what they have there is fantastic, and everything's in the right direction, but you're not there yet.
It's going quicker than the Edmonton rebuild because they're not bringing in a bunch of former Leafs. They brought in a general manager who's won 3 Stanley Cups. They brought in a coach who I think it's pretty much undisputed is the best coach in the league.
What makes Mike Babcock a good coach?
He's an asshole. That's what makes him a good coach. He's like Scotty Bowman.
Oh, and you know how much I love Scotty Bowman now.
He uses his players to their maximum potential, and he doesn't get emotionally invested. Every single day with him, it's a what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
You know who I point to as a player that's been reinvented, that's a Mike Babcock disciple, is Nazem Kadri.
Oh, yeah.
Because Nazem Kadri all of a sudden now is a Selke Trophy candidate, and who the saw that coming? Because if he doesn't play the way that Babs wants, he doesn't play.
That's true.
And that's it.
And now he's figured out his role. He's become a little bit less. No, he's still a shitbag, but it's controlled.
He's quiet, but he's doing what he's supposed to do. I don't hear him. I'm like, and that's the thing.
Well, you don't hear him because Willie Nylander is just so good looking and so handsome.
I also think it helps with these kids because they get all the video game covers and the magazines and whatever. That's still the highest paid and most revered person in the organization is that coach. So there's no risk of them getting too big for their britches. He's still omnipotent.
That's true. And one thing,
and Willie doesn't have that.
Oh, no, Willie's probably making. We're probably making more than Willie.
No, but you know what I mean, though. Like he doesn't like. They're all screwing around in that dressing room. Mike Babcock walks into that dressing room and you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah,
I think Willie could be in there for 10 minutes and no one noticed.
Willie is a substitute teacher on a rainy day.
Yeah.
There was a bit of sass tonight, not in the locker room, but Jeff Patterson in the postgame was like...
Talking like this, real quick.
It basically was like, so the power play, you still haven't changed anything up on the power play, and it's still ticking along at 12%. Are you thinking about moving things around, or are you just going to keep going at 12%? And Willie just stared him down and was just like, yeah, maybe I should just leave it at 12%. And it was kind of a joke, but it was kind of like, ooh, this is uncomfortable. I wasn't recording. I was like punching away, but I stopped and was like, I mean, he was kind of joking, but...
Maybe if they had got me Milan Lucic instead of Louis Eriksson.
We need some of those doofuses. Edmonton's got all those doofuses.
Doofuses was the key to unlocking the mystery of the Edmonton Oilers.
Eriksson looked okay tonight.
Yeah, but...
I get what you're saying.
He looks okay at $3 million. He doesn't look okay at 6.
He looks great at 3. You know, he's got 10 goals.
He looks amazing at 2.5.
It's like Brandon Sutter for me. He looks great at $3 million a year, but at 4.5...
Oh, I'd gotten a question about this. This
from a listener.
Oh yeah, well I put the old thing on the Twitter that send us some questions or comments about stuff and things. So one Stephen Quinn asked about our hypothetical Spezza trade. Pagani, friend of the show, just replied with Geeta is pretty.
Thank you.
So I didn't get anything about that. Paul, you didn't get any pretty comments.
That's our in-depth analysis from the Bay Area.
I feel kind of left out, but I mean, I've been called pretty before. I guess I'm okay with this.
You're pretty.
You are pretty. You have the best.
Prettier. I can accept that.
You have the best hair out of any man on this podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not true at all.
It's like an old
100% true.
It's like if Macklemore grew up in the 30s.
Hey. This is about me being pretty.
Yeah, you're very pretty. You have very nice hair.
Macklemore in the 30s. I feel like I need to quote some Macklemore, but with a 30s newsy voice. But I don't know.
You're downtown.
He's gonna ride the rails because no one has a job. Everyone's shopping at the thrift store.
Hey there, son. We're going down to the thrift store. Grandpa bought this leather jacket, and now I've got it for 99 cents.
I'm popping tags and wearing this barrel.
Popping tags and wearing a barrel. Yeah, there you go. See?
Ryan Hank, always 94. He goes, so being that the Canucks have gone through some stuff, what things will make them better? Example, should they do power play still? And like we just said about how
do them, practice them.
Just stop the power plays. We'll just do 5.
Say
the
no.
Penalty is declined.
It's cool. Yeah.
Have you guys talked about ice time tonight? I know we're not specific to games and stuff. Jason Magna was, I think, fourth on the Canucks for ice time and forwards. He had 3 or 4 minutes more than Burrows. He played more than Berchi. He played more than Daniel Sedin.
So here's the question before Dave and I get an argument about one of us liking him and one of us not liking him. How did he play tonight?
No, I have a new catchphrase for him. The Magnigma.
Because you don't know what you're going to get from him?
I've decided that Fort Lauderdale must be the medicine hat of the South.
He's the curious case of Jason Megna. He's the stranger thing. He's the upside down. He's the upside down Trent Klatt. He's a plug who shouldn't be playing with the Sedins, but he's not as adorable.
Yeah, that's
he's not Taylor Pyatt. He's not good looking. He's from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
He had that great game against Philly this week. But if it was about...
and I did tweet out that night that people need to get off his back because he had a good game.
Yeah, but then if you look at the Pucks on Net Twitter, which is run by me, it's just making fun of Jason Megna.
I'd rather see Jason Megna out there than Chaput or Labatt.
Okay, Labatt hasn't been on the team in months.
I don't know who these guys are.
Yeah,
it's like the Cleveland Indians in Major League Spring Training. I've never heard of half these guys, and the ones that I have heard of are way past their prime.
Jack Skilly.
and Brendan Gaunce. So if you like Magna, put him on that line and drop one of those guys out. Give Boucher a shot. What's the Boucher?
Yeah,
we don't know.
What the heck?
If I was chiming in with this with what Ryan Hank said, it would just be give Boucher a shot somewhere just so we can see what he can do.
Playing one of his 16 former teams from earlier this season tonight, you don't put him in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 16, 17 teams. All of them play in LA now.
He's like 14.
I'm a big fan of the Los Angeles Sharks of California.
Anders Lau asks, what move would you take? Trading Goody and Sutter to Vegas to keep Granlund and Baertschi protected, or firing Willie/Jimmy?
Sorry.
That's a tough one.
Go status quo.
Status quo. Let's see what happens.
Just play it out. This season's been so. What am I not talking to my mic?
That's
sorry.
right. Yes.
Sorry.
I call this season.
Paul, do your job.
I call this season the driving in snow season. You just go slow and don't panic.
That's exactly it. Just
wow, I like that.
The year of the Canucks. You might make the playoffs, you might miss, but just don't crash.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like pretend you're on the Patello.
OT losses today. You get a point.
Don't turn your steering wheel left or right. Just hold on. Go at 20. Who cares if people are honking behind you? You're slow and steady wins the race.
Canucks fans guide for 2017.
The Colorado Avalanche can just wait their turn to
You know
merge.
what? Because this is a year they have no expectations. We don't care if they win or lose. Dave was here and caught the end of that game with me, and neither of us gave a fuck. I think I was more emotionally invested in that Dallas Cowboys game.
I was like, what's Ben Roethlisberger doing on the other channel?
You would have been emotionally invested if I had told you the bet I had on the Devils Canucks game tonight.
Was it about someone getting a puppy?
No, it was about if they. It would have paid out 3.5 to 1 if they finished the game tied. And they did, and I was dancing. I was jumping for joy, like I just won the lottery.
You have a gambling problem. All I hear from you lately is, I won this money. You see, $75.
Yeah, see.
Sorry,
I'm gonna turn $75 into next month's rent. See,
Ryan's hanging out at the Monty Burns Casino, trying to get rides in the Spruce Moose.
So what we're saying is that the Canucks motto is just, if you need to put chains on your tires, pull over and do it now. That's for the fans. Because it's driving in snow.
We're driving in snow. We're not firing anybody until the off season.
Plus, I was thinking about this. If the Sedins get moved somewhere or retire, what they probably will.
Moto.
Brandon Sutter is having a good year. And Brandon Sutter is making a little bit more than I want him to. But he's a bit of a rock right now. So you don't want to get rid of him. No. And Eric Goodbranson has been hurt all year, which is going to be real.
I don't know what I have in Goodbranson.
Yeah, but you don't know what you have.
I don't know what I've gotten him.
And his
you bench him, right? You put him in the press box.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit him. I'm gonna sit him, and he needs to get some practices in.
Never play again.
Never play again,
or at all.
And so
I don't know what I've gotten him.
Plus, negotiating that contract will be nice and easy because he spent half the year, hurt.
Yeah.
So if you can get him on a little bit of a discount. And the other thing people wanted to ask us about was, did you see Zach Kassian get elbowed in the face by Taylor Hall on Friday night?
No, but I read that the girl that was driving that pickup truck in Montreal got charged.
For really? The 18-year-old gal that what would she get charged for?
Well, you see, Daryl Katz showed up in Montreal with a big briefcase full of money. He's like, "Hey, he's my second best doofus."
His nickname, Big Rig.
We're gonna pin it. We're gonna pin it on the girl.
Well, I mean, he did pin it on the girl. He said, "You're an 18-year-old floozy. I need you to drive my giant truck home."
He's like Kenny Powers with Stevie.
Yeah.
I got priors, so you were driving.
You were driving. You crashed the car.
Do you think it was one of those moments
driving.
where you're like, quick, we got to swap seats immediately?
No. Yeah,
because
listeners at home cannot see me nodding.
None of us have ever done that before.
I've thought about it.
Well, there was a train wreck and a plane crash and a car crash that Zach Kassian and Cody Hodson just switched seats.
Yeah.
Apparently, Coho's coming back next year. That's the word. That's the scuttlebutt. That's the word on the street. He's training real hard in Markham with Gary Roberts.
No way.
The Squamish Music Fest.
So those kids in Nashville right now don't have a coach. So Emilio Estevez should get down there.
Drive his limo right on the ice.
In Nashville, Cody Hodson's abandoned the mini Predators.
No, things are looking bad for Cody because he had a online apparel, a company similar to RK17 called Coho. and everything was like 90% off on the store. And I could have got this black and red hoodie that just said Coho on the arm.
That'd be a great hat. No one else would get it, but if any of you guys showed up to a Halloween party in an RK-17 shirt and any Coho material, your drinks are on me.
The Coho stuff looked terrible, though.
It looked really bad.
Like, it looked like somebody just used the default font from Word.
Yeah.
And wrote capital C-O, capital H-O, and then
Calibri 11.
Cody Hodson's dad is not going to buy the Microsoft Office version of Word. He's going to use the free one that
Open
came
Office?
with this. Yeah, Open Office. So it's Times New Roman on those shirts for days.
And then he took it to the mall where you can get embroideries done and like custom T-shirts. It's like, I need 45,000 hoodies that say Coho on them.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hudson, sir.
I was an MP once. I'll get them done at the same place I got my signs done.
Anyway, the what happened in the Devils were playing in Taylor Hall's return to Edmonton. Taylor Hall and Cassian were jostling at the face-off and kind of giving each other elbows. And then Zach Cassian kind of bent down to like start his stride. And I guess Hall was going to give him one final elbow to the shoulder to kind of say, we're playing again, old pal. But Zach Cassian bent down and he elbowed him right in the face, and he was all bloody. So Zach Cassian, in some sort of angry doofus rage, chased after Hall, and I think he suckered him a couple times, but Taylor Hall basically turtled. So a couple people wanted to know what our thoughts were, and I said it looked like it was an accident from Taylor Hall, but kudos to Zach Cassian for laying the shots in there.
Cassian covered in blood. Did they play like the Cactus Jack theme song? Zach.
No, now he's
the Zach. Oh my God, he kind of looked. Oh, that's great.
I
that's
tweeted
a t-shirt.
That's
a
t-shirt
t-shirt.
years ago.
That's a t-shirt that I would buy. A Cactus Zach Cassian t-shirt. Wanted, dead or alive in Montreal.
The last question came from
La Belle Provence.
Mike Scallen, and he asked, what the heck is wrong with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and will they make the playoffs?
It's almost like they got a missing player.
And one of those good players, too.
And when you have two goalies, you don't have one.
Has there ever been an organization in the NHL or like in another league or another sport where it's like, this is a great team, but they could never make it because they always got hurt? Like, is there a quarterback that would always go down? They could never play when it mattered most?
The Dan Marino era Miami Dolphins.
Really?
Yes.
So there's something in the water down in Florida.
He'd always get hurt at the exact wrong moment.
Well, because this is the second time in 3 years where they're hoping that
the Toronto Blue Jays, sorry. The modern era Toronto Blue Jays are the baseball equivalent of the modern era Tampa Bay Lightning.
So could the Tampa Bay Lightning solve everything by putting the laces out?
It was all that Dan Marino's fault. Everyone knows that. If he had held the ball laces out like you're supposed to, Ray would never have missed that kick. Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Would you like a cookie, son?
Sorry, that was a throwback to your first team.
That was the
if they all wear isotoner gloves, anything's possible.
Okay.
Say that to OJ.
Yeah. Well, did anybody see that on the late show where they had Kourtney Kardashian on and they had this game they were playing where it was like eat something really, really gross or answer a question, and she had like this like deep fried caterpillar, and what's his face? The big funny British guy.
Yeah.
He's
Gordon?
He's like Gordon's like
James Gordon.
Do you think OJ did it?
Isn't OJ her dad?
No.
Maybe.
No.
Which Kardashian?
Oh, there were rumors that OJ was Chloe's father.
Yeah, but then she looks
OJ
like
is one of their godfathers. I'm not sure which ones.
Chloe runs like a 4-second 40.
Really?
Yeah.
She's getting looked at by one of those LA football teams.
Yeah. The LA Chargers are going to sign Chloe. So draw your conclusions from that.
I just remember hearing somewhere that the rumors that it's Chloe was.
Yeah, she can also carve a turkey like no one's business. She's really good with a paring knife.
But she's got to wear those gloves.
Yeah.
Interesting side note. My mom just told me she was watching Chips, and Caitlyn Jenner was on one of the episodes as one of the officers on Chips back in the day.
Really?
So not Caitlyn, but Bruce.
It was Bruce.
Does that mean that Kim Kardashian is gonna be in the remake?
Stranger things have happened.
Or Brody Jenner?
that was the reason why I started keeping up with the Kardashians. I was like, Brody, of all things I do wrong, Brody Jenner would have been one of those things.
Brody Jenner is a very handsome mistake.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to say was this week was that I included this photo in all your notes, but the Nashville Predators had time to kill because of a delayed flight, and they hung out at Dave & Buster's.
Where were they? In the Taiwan airport, like Taipei?
No, they got it. Yes, the Nashville Predators. It was just like when the Bad News Bears went to China or Japan.
Have you been to the Taipei airport?
Yeah, you can smoke in it.
It's amazing because there's like 50 themed lounges, and you have to check out all of them. Like I love the Hello Kitty lounge.
Is that where the rice cooker came from?
No, that's from my mommy.
But anyway, so one of the guys won this giant, like as big as a child, plush doll of Super Mario, and it's now joining them on the plane and in the dressing room, and it's like the unofficial mascot.
Do you think it's weird that they named it Shay?
It's got the facial hair.
What would be an Italian hockey player that they could name it?
Luciano Borsato from the Winnipeg Jets.
Frankie Corrado.
Yeah, he'd get just as much ice time. Oh, we're going to hear from one of his parents.
What are you going to do?
Oh, Sal, we're sorry. We know you listen. We love you.
Sal, that was PMAC that told us to say that. And I know
What?
I know you guys are tight.
I don't say anything about Frank Corrado because me and Sal are tight.
Do you think him and Alex Biega get together and not play hockey in the summer?
You want to know why we know the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing things correctly in their rebuild and becoming a good franchise?
Frankie Corcoran has no Corsi stats.
He's got no stats in general.
He's got the best smelling gloves in the NHL. It's like new car.
His gloves smell as good as Mike Ricci's did when he met the Queen on the ice in 2002.
Oh, that was so great. I was there that night and she snubbed him. She got right in there with Marcus Naslund, nice handsome Swedish boy.
It's like, are you Geddy Lee?
Mike Ricci, she like physically recoiled, and you guys know why Owen Nolan didn't do it. Right?
Yeah, because he's got some Northern Ireland.
He's got some issues. Hey, I've been to Belfast. It's a thing. It's a thing.
There's hard enough feelings still in Scotland and the rest of Ireland without. Yeah. Anyway,
I didn't realize what it was until I was there, and there's an actual Trump wall.
Oh yeah,
wall.
I think we'll wrap up the podcast this week.
Sorry, England, if you're listening, we still love you, even though there have been tense difficulties.
But shout out to my favorite listener, Stu.
Hey, and congratulations,
Stu's Scottish.
Congratulations to Brian McGrattan.
He says he's been kicking around Manchester.
Oh. Congratulations to Brian McGrattan and the rest of the Nottingham Panthers on last week's 2017 club tournament win, the Continental Cup, an double IHF event known as the B. Spengler Cup. The first British elite hockey team to win that tournament, Brian McGrattan.
You know what I really hope is that I know that Trump is being inaugurated on Friday.
Black Friday. There's going to be so many sales.
But
your passport, for one.
I really hope that all of us are alive to see Brexit.
Oh, that's a great way to end the show.
Well, no, I had more things to say. We had some very positive feedback about our dump and chase segment, so that'll be coming back. Yeah,
people liked it.
A lot of people. So I'll probably provide the next dump and chase. I've been sitting on a story for a long time. I think I've told it all of you. But
I got to introduce the segment.
What's
it's
that?
time for Dump and Chase.
No, not this week.
With our special guest, Ryan Schaap.
Yeah, that's what you'll hear next week.
Oh, it's a tease. We're teasing Dump on Chase next week.
Dump and Chase needs its own theme music.
Yeah. I thought we were doing it as a separate podcast, but on the same
we got
channel.
We got to phase it in. This is what they do. Like on Grey's Anatomy when they started phasing in that other show.
Spin-offs?
Spin-off.
Then we're going to have 2 minutes for holding the stick.
That's Paul's segment.
I'm sorry. I'm not even sure what that was.
That's going to be my radio show on NPR. I'm like,
no, you're 5-on-1, playing a little 5-on-1, pulling your goalie.
No, my show's
3-on-3.
My show's a very sexy show called The Flying V. It's time for The Flying V. With Dave McPhail.
Jamie Benn doesn't listen to that.
All you cool, crazy cats on a Friday night watching a little hockey. Gonna do The Flying V. Not on the show again this week from Victoria, British Columbia, Jamie Benn. But we do have Tyler Sagan on the line. Tyler, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm doing a great good job. Please turn off your radio. So yeah, that'll come back. And I think that's about it. A handful. I've been talking to a couple Pucks on Net listeners that are actually going to be in town for the Penguins game. So I just found that interesting. I forget who I was talking about. Nathan somebody. He was asking about places to go in Vancouver and if it was safe and if he needed to rent a car. And I said yes and most definitely not. So that was unrelated.
Where'd you send him to? What hot spots? Did you send him to the old spaghetti factory?
Yeah.
That's funny because one of our supervisors at work loves the old spaghetti factory.
When we go on mobiles, old spaghetti factory, we gotta go.
That's the same like minestrone soup they've been serving for 12 years.
You know when we
tangy.
were really excited about it? We had a class trip up to Whistler in grade 11, and everybody was like, "We're going to the old spaghetti factory." Grade 11.
I've been to the old spaghetti factory in Whistler with that supervisor from work.
What's this young man's name?
Nathan?
Nathan, if you're out there listening, I know you are, I'm going to send you to a couple of cool spots. If you want to spend, quite a bit of money, but it's a really cool cocktail bar, I recommend the Kiefer Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get in.
If you can get in. Tell them you know Jens. That's your hookup there. Also, the Diamond Lounge in Gastown is a good spot.
Yeah.
And that's a good one. Where else can we send them?
Why doesn't Dave ever take us to places like this?
You guys aren't.
What's he looking for? I love Rodney's in Yaletown.
Rodney's in Yaletown is a great spot as well, especially if you really want to meet like some really handsome servers. It's kind of like female Hooters, but the food is good. It's a bunch of
the vibe is good too.
It's a bunch of very large men who are serving you oysters and eating them very suggestively. Jamie Benn would also hate.
Doesn't eat them.
Jamie Benn doesn't play that. He doesn't.
Jamie Benn doesn't eat.
No.
So we'll come up with some. I told him to reach out to us for more ideas, but we'll be happy to direct him in the right direction of places to go. And so Dumb and Chase will be back. Please send us some more Hawaiian coffee because it was fantastic. No, I'm just kidding.
So just for Nathan, that's his itinerary. You go to Forage for dinner on Robson Street, and then you take the lady to the Kiefer Lounge for an after-dinner cocktail. That's your night. That's a good date night.
So that'll wrap it up for this week's podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and rate and review if you're still listening at this point. And if you haven't rated and reviewed us on iTunes, take a minute. All you got to do is to help us give us a win against that horrible Steve Jobs algorithm. You rate it 5 stars, say something nice, and we get promoted in their charts.
Do it on a Samsung phone just to f with his ghost.
You realize that because you said something bad about Steve Jobs, we've automatically dropped 17 spots.
He's in the cloud now, man.
That's the problem with the Apple algorithm. So if you've done that, or just go like us on Facebook, and we now have an Instagram page which I'm putting stuff on. So go follow that if you haven't. Just numbers that we look good to other people. I don't know. Do whatever you want.
We need your help with our fancy stats, people.
Our fancy stats are Facebook likes, Twitter followers, iTunes subscriptions, and interactions on YouTube and Instagram.
Don't forget our MySpace page.
It's dusty. It's collecting dust. There's cobwebs everywhere.
And our MSN Messenger profile.
We like letters, handwritten letters.
And our Google Plus.
Yeah, like Geeta said, send us some stuff. You want to send us some stuff?
All right, let's wrap this puppy up.
What do you want? Well, we could.
I want to eat dinner.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to eat dinner now.
Okay.
I hope you're eating at home. You're eating dinner, too.
This is a special Sunday podcast brought to you live by the NFL. They're moving us.